Yeah, trauma bonding. It's kind of sad when you look back in your life and you realize that most of your relationships that you had with people, whether it was a friend or a girlfriend, it was mostly trauma bonding. We were only around each other because we were both suffering somehow. Now, the guy that I stayed with, aka Hitman, that I stayed with in Brooklyn, I even told this dude one time. I said, I gotta stop talking to you, man, because this ain't nothing but trauma bonding. And how you find that out is it's just you can just simply see about it, the person's expressions when you talk about good things instead of bad things. I test people all the time. Why you guys think I'm in isolation, man? You think somebody really put me here, or do you think I just decided to be here? There's plenty of people out here to talk to. Trauma bonding is not fun, especially when you don't want to experience trauma anymore. We've all had some kind of trauma, right? But you don't want to keep it going unless you plan on, not growing. Most of my relationships was trauma bonding, no matter who we talking about. Whether we talking about the Hitman, Brent, in Brooklyn, growing up in black neighborhoods in these cities, most of your relationships is going to be trauma bonding. And then if you have good things happen to you, you probably want to keep it to yourself because you don't want the people you grew up with hating on you. You already know it. Trauma bonding is the only way to survive out here if you want to have friends. And now it's not even reduced down to your neighborhood or the ghetto. I told y'all the entire country is a ghetto. Trauma bonding is like number one. I bet you even white people who got a lot of money probably talking about drama. Nah, it's not just constricted down to the black community and the ghettos. It seems like that's the norm in this place. It's just talking about drama. Most of the times I walk past people, they talk about drama. Every time it's like I walk past a black woman in these cities, they talk about some kind of drama. I isolate myself. I don't want to be around people like this. That's all people do is trauma bond. And then you start trauma bonding, like you get into these friendships with people. And then I started noticing how I was I feel like I was falling into this pit. And I have to stop. I have to tell myself, look, either you're going to keep trauma bonding with these people or you're going to have to just be isolated. This is what I told myself, guys. Conversations I have my own soul. Nobody put me nowhere. Looking this cool, you think people don't want to hang out with me? Of course people want to hang out. People want to know who but I ain't about that shit, man, because all they're going to do is trauma bond. That's all they're going to do. People with the shitty jobs, shitty lives, shitty housing. What else is there? What else is there else to do but trauma bond in a place like this? Hello? It's called inflation. Ain't nobody supposed to be happy. I remember one time Bobby Hemmings say, he was talking about a story about like a black person, talking to another black person. And I think one of them said, like, you're not supposed to be happy. And Bobby brought up the issue, should you be happy? And Bobby's answer was no. If your people are suffering, you do not have the right to walk around and be looking all smiling and stuff. And here's another half truth. I understand exactly what Bobby meant by that. Because if you're around a bunch of misery and you only motherfucker walking around with a smile on your face, people are gonna be like, where the hell you come from? Right? It's almost like you're mocking people. They feel like you're mocking them. I understand that this is what people feel about me. But the thing is, the reason I stopped talking about a lot of drama lately, because I realized I was feeding into some kind of energy source that I don't want to be feeding into anymore. Of course, I have problems. I talk about it sometime on YouTube, but I'm not going to just spill my guts on drama on YouTube. I do most of my stuff on YouTube, I do for the positive type of stuff. Y'all know I talk about health and other things. But no, trauma bonding, no, man, that's for the birds, man. I'm too old for that shit. It was cool for a little while, you're young, trying to find your way in the world. But see, I know the way things are supposed to be now, okay? And since I know the way things are supposed to be, it's really nothing else to talk about. Either it's going to get done or I'm just going to stay quiet. I don't have anything else to say. But no, the only relationship I had with this hitman in Brooklyn was that we trauma bonded. Almost 95% of the conversation was about like some kind of trauma bonding. And I had to get out of that shit. See? And then as I was starting, you notice when you start to get out of that shit, even talking about a different situation, like let's say you're a gang member trying to get out of the gang, or you're trying to leave your hood in Chicago, you know, a lot of times there's no outlet, right? If I was put in a situation to help impoverish black youth, to not be afraid to leave the situation they grew up in, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful. Yeah. Well, I need to take care of myself first, though, right? Because I'm from the hood. I came out the hood. Most people do not believe I grew up on the west side of Chicago. They be like, nah, stop playing. Where you really from? I mean, even foreigners don't believe I'm from Chicago, because even they think they know what it's like to grow up in the hood. But nah, man, that trauma bonding shit is for the birds. Get that. I ain't about that shit no more.